We began this course in World Religions by asking ourselves the question of the nature of God. Is God essential to our understanding of religion per se? Well, let's expand on that notion of God. How about the notion of the supernatural? Or if we're looking at the supernatural, how about those that are, say, of demonic spirits? If we posit the notion of God, do we at the same time posit the notion of there being sort of demonic spirits, part of the supernatural? And this is a question that's difficult to face in the West because, quite frankly, we have the notion of God. Rarely do we come into the realm of the supernatural and demonic spirits. But let me go back a little bit to Singapore, or I suppose about 1976. I was with a medical doctor and a young girl was brought to the house. She was demon possessed. Her mother had cast a spell on the daughter. And so what we tried to do, the doctor and myself, was to exercise to drive out this so-called demonic spirit. At one stage, I felt something going through me that was nothing short of an electric shock. If I'd held on to a bare wire connected to the mains and had that power, it would not have been less than the shock that went through me at one stage of this exorcism. There's no doubt that there was a very powerful spirit present in that room that day. And so now we explore a Hindu festival called Thaipusam. This is quite an old video, well, not actually videos, these are quite old shots that were taken on a colour slide circa around 40 years ago, 1977 I believe it was, and also the sound recording was analogue at that particular time. So don't expect the sound quality or the picture quality to be right up to modern standards. But it will give you an idea of this festival called Thaipusam. Now, when God answers your prayer, how do you respond? And most religions have an answer for that. If we go back to Egyptology, the very sort of early periods of Egyptology, and we look at the god Ptah, there's accounts of a workman who was afflicted with blindness, ostensibly because he had cursed the gods. So he prays to Ptah to have his blindness restored. No doubt that if he did have his blindness restored, then he would go back to Ptah and give thanks to the god for restoration of his sight. Christianity itself is replete with many cases where someone has had their prayers answered. We have the people going from all sorts of things to flagellation. But this notion of God answering prayers, or supposed God answering prayers, we leave that open to the discussion, because is it a God, is it demonic spirits, is it the supernatural, whatever that is. You'll see in Thaipusam that this does raise a number of questions. So I would encourage you to open up the report by Dr. Trevor Grieve. It's a PDF file and it's attached to this video, or you will see a link very, very close to that. I will be addressing Dr. Grieve's analysis of Thaipusam. So I was there with my colleague who was a professor in theology, with a surgeon, Dr. Trevor Grieve, and you can see his report. I'll be reading from that, and I'll be giving you some soundtrack and some slides of Thaipusam. So welcome to the video of this Hindu festival, Thaipusam.
Today is Thursday, February the 3rd, 1977 in Singapore. This is Peter Lee reporting on the Thaipusam Festival. I'm at the Perumal Temple in Serangoon Road together with Wesley Emerson, Professor of Theology at Southeast Asia Union College, and Trevor C. Greaves, Surgeon and Chief of Staff at the Youngberg Memorial Adventist Hospital. Later I'll be asking Dr. Greaves to give his medical opinion on Thaipusam, bearing in mind that the events that we are witnessing at this festival can hardly be described in normal terms. Thaipusam is an annual Hindu festival of penance and thanksgiving to Lord Muruga, performed by the faithful for favours received or sought. But this is not just a case of offering a prayer to Lord Muruga, but involves carrying a kavadi made of wires and metal rods from the Perumal temple to another temple in Tank Road. That's a distance of almost 3.5 kilometres. This year it is estimated that a total of 1,200 people will be carrying a kavadi, and that's an all-time record according to the temple authorities. This year has also seen a much larger number of women kavadi carriers than in former years. The devotees have been organised into 3 batches. The first one left at 6 a.m. this morning and finished at 8 a.m. There's a second batch leaving at 11 a.m. and they should run through to 5 p.m. And the third should be leaving this evening from about 6:30 p.m. finishing at 9:30 p.m. This morning the weather is quite warm, but fairly heavy showers have been predicted for this afternoon. All in all, the police have got a very busy day keeping the traffic moving along the Serangoon Road and at the same time controlling a very, very large crowd. The officer in charge this year is Deputy Superintendent Ram Naidu. He's from the Orchard Road police station and he's been constantly touring this procession along the route and briefing the officers and the men on duty. Most devotees are Indian, but there are exceptions, and this person is Chinese. The air is absolutely electric. And not only the kavadi's carriers caught up in some sort of hypnotic trance, but so are others. Wes, what do you see about this trance?
The person in front of us right now is going through a trance. They're being pressing pins to his tongue right now and now through his cheeks.
This is really something. With a spear not far short of the thickness of a pencil going through the cheek, one has to ask why do devotees go to such lengths to demonstrate their thanks and their penance. And some are prepared to talk about it openly, and many do so proudly, whereas others prefer to keep the secret to themselves. Mr. Ranganathan is a crane driver. He's from Tanging Holt. He wants the world to know why he and his family of 5 are carrying the kavadi and will continue this ritual for as long as they live. This is the 5th time that the Ranganathan family are carrying the kavadi. His eldest son, Saravathan, is aged 10. He's carried the kavadi for 4 years. His other sons are Durai Raj, he's aged 9. Chandramohan, he's aged 7, and Thanabalan is aged 5. And all these have carried the kavadi for the last 3 years each. Ranganathan's wife is aged 28. She joined her husband for the first time in 1972, and the family became really the centre of attraction this morning when they arrived at the temple just after dawn for the pre-kavadi purification ceremony. Ranganathan carried a giant peacock-size or peacock-type cavity. This was held in place by metal skewers. I mean, it was just huge. Ranganathan's wife told us that her youngest son, that's Thanabalan, was born with a kidney ailment. He underwent 4 major operations, and then she made a vow to Lord Muruga that If a son was cured, the family would carry the cavity every single year. Well, Thaipusam, he began to show progress, and Ranganathan, the husband, carried the cavity for the first time that year. From now on, they'll be carrying the cavity every year for as long as they live, remarked Ranganathan's wife. Subsequent to the Thaipusam festival, Dr. Trevor C. Grieve, surgeon, chief of staff at Yumba Memorial Adventist Hospital, prepared this report entitled Thaipusam. The report is dated July the 12th, 1977. The Hindu festival of Thaipusam presents a number of varied phenomena, some of which invite comment from a medical viewpoint. These are the phenomena associated with the carrying of the cavities and include absence of pain, absence of bleeding, absence of infection, and absence of scar formation. The absence of pain appears to be real rather than merely apparent, as the cavity carriers include a wide selection of individuals, from the relatively young to the relatively old, both male and female. Also, their large numbers represent a significant percentage of those devotees of the faith living in the particular area. There is an obvious high level of lack of pain response, both with the setting up of the cavities and its subsequent carriage over the following 2 to 4 hours. The insertion of up to 30 wires to support the cavities and the associated placement of skewers through the tongues and cheek undoubtedly has great potential for pain production. The wires appear to be 3 to 4 millimeters in diameter, and the points are by no means surgically sharp. The ends can be described as being round-bodied with a short taper. This type of end is almost the exact opposite of what is clinically associated with a relatively painless injection, i.e. the fine needle with a relatively long oblique cutting end. The skin of the back and chest may somewhat be less sensitive than many other parts of the body surface, but there is no doubt that the tongue is one of the most sensitive portions of the body, being richly supplied with pain-sensitive nerve endings. In seeking an explanation for this particular phenomenon, it is easiest to decide in favor of a self-induced hypnotic trance. In this respect, the participating devotees are highly motivated and have the added advantage of group support from fellow participants, the priests, and supporting family members and friends. It is a well-established medical fact that the hypnotic state can be associated with a pain-free trauma. And in my opinion, the appearance and behavior of the cavity carriers at Thaipusam is consistent with their being in a hypnotic state. Many devotees can claim that their lack of pain is proof of the direct protecting power of the supernatural spirit that they are worshipping. And this is a view that cannot be disproved. Absence of bleeding is also a most remarkable phenomenon. The relatively bluntness of the penetrating wires and skewers that are used may produce considerable radial tension in the skin, which in turn may reduce the tendency for blood to escape from the entry wounds, or indeed for much bleeding to occur at all. However, this is not a satisfactory explanation, particularly if one considers the absence of bleeding in the highly vascular tongue and cheek. Hindu priests will say that if bleeding occurs on insertion of the wires or skewers, that this is a sign the participant is not ready, and this lack of bleeding is not so satisfactorily explained on the basis of hypnosis. Although some people elsewhere in the world claim to be able to influence autonomic functions such as heart rate using self-hypnosis, I do not think that this explanation can be accepted as applying over such a wide population of the Thaipusam devotees. I do not think that the devotees could consistently affect the autonomic control of peripheral blood flow by reducing the circulation through the arterioles and subsequently the capillaries on the basis of self-hypnosis. Some reduction of peripheral blood flow can be expected in a state of extreme fear amounting to terror. But the overall impression one gets at Thaipusam is that while there is an atmosphere of great excitement amongst devotees, and some of the cavity carriers maybe appear to be wild-eyed, fear does not seem to be a significant component. The absence of effective complications is claimed by the Hindu devotees. There is certainly no ready evidence to the contrary, which is quite remarkable, as in 1976 in Singapore, some 1,200 persons carried the cavities. I think it is a fair observation that with the insertion of the wires and skewers, there is no aseptic technique employed, or even any rudimentary attempt at sterility. The skin is not cleansed with any particular solution, and the wires are not treated in any fashion. Occasionally, if they seem to be more difficult than expected in their insertion, subsequent wires may be run through the hair of the priests in order to make them a little easier to insert. Also, if wires happen to fall onto the temple courtyard, they are picked up and inserted according to plan. On removal of the wires, after the ceremony, a greyish powder may be rubbed into the wounds. Although this substance is claimed to be of mystical value, there is no suggestion that it contains any antibiotics or any other chemotherapeutic substance. I know of no medical reasons why a significant percentage of these puncture wounds should not become infected, or why indeed there should not be a consistent production of tetanus sufferers. This is clearly an area where a prospective trial could be useful, if indeed permission were given to conduct one. The absence of significant scarring is also claimed by Hindu devotees in regard to the kavadi wounds. I understand that many of the carriers participate year after year, and therefore the total number of wounds that they have accumulated will be quite high. It is pertinent to note that the incidence of keloid amongst Indians is significant, and if this usual incidence were to apply to kavadi carriers, then there should be easily visible evidence of scarring amongst the Hindus. This is again an area where some research will be helpful. Of the 4 phenomena discussed, the first 2 are proven to my satisfaction by personal, direct observation, but the last 2, whilst being the consensus of opinion of those participating in Thaipusam, could obviously do with some objective supporting evidence. Quite clearly, there is no satisfactory medical explanation to cover all the phenomena of Thaipusam. The Hindu devotees believe that these things are proof of the power of their gods. And if this view is accepted, then this places these phenomena in the realm of the supernatural. The report ends.
Amen.